Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
Good evening, everybody. Live with Teague's Take tonight on this great Tuesday evening. We appreciate you guys for jumping in and enjoying the show, giving us your likes, and just jumping in the chat with us. We're very appreciative because we know it's the holiday season, and a lot of times there's a lot of different things you could be doing right now other than sitting and talking about Alabama football or Cowboy football or any other stuff. So we're going to have a good time tonight. We got a few things that we got to hit, particularly about Nick Saban and these transfers that are coming into Alabama, how he's just always ahead of the curve, right? We got to talk some Bowl Mania stuff and see who's in the running to win that $150 gift certificate from Char 380 out in McKinney. And then, of course, we got to talk Dallas Cowboys and their run now being the number 2 seed. But first, before we get going, man, I just got something, on my heart a little bit again. You guys know I go on my little rants every now and again, and this is something that we've probably talked about a little bit, but I want to talk about it again because it's come up a couple times this week with me with the social media presence and what people say and how they act and how they pretend to be somebody that they're not, or something that they want to be when they're sitting behind a screen with no picture, no name, and they want to be tough creatures, right? So it really hit home to me because I was actually talking. I sent out a tweet earlier when I was on my way into Alabama. I'm in Montgomery, Alabama right now. And I took a picture of a historic bridge, and there was out of 2,000 comments, there were 3 that were just kind of make you go, a little bit. Because most people are respectful and different things. But sometimes when people say stuff, they don't really understand what they're driving home or what they're saying about themselves. When all they can think about is being negative creatures about whatever. And my tweet was not meant for anything of that nature. It was just kind of touching to me and my wife as we were rolling through the bridge. And I thought, man, this is a pretty special moment for us to be here again. And we've been over that bridge, I don't know how many times. But, it just felt good, I guess, to be able to do that. And I wanted to share that moment with them. And so when people say crazy stuff like, a bridge is a bridge, this kind of thing, and you're losing all historical context or other things that might have been said. It's just kind of crazy to me. So I'm just asking, I guess, and informing that, hey, if you want to be a tough guy, you want to be whoever you are, be that person, right? Don't try to stand behind some fake name with no picture, no something. Own whatever you have to say. In our profession, in this football world, a lot of times emotions fly out, and sometimes we get out of character and do different things of that nature, but we're not trying to hide behind anything, just like JT and I are on the screen right now. What we say, what we do, you can see it. or you can hear it and you know exactly where it's coming from. And we have to own it, even if it is a mistake, right? So we're just asking you, hey, be kind to people. You can have difference of opinions, um, but don't try to put other people's agendas on my plate or JT's plate or my family plate, because we're generally out for the betterment of the people. Okay, that's my soapbox. JT, why don't you come on back in for a second? I know you didn't know I was going to talk about that, and I know you're not heavily up in the social media, but do you think it's what do you think those kind of traits kind of come from with people who want to stand behind a screen, not let you see them, and be able to talk about or be negative and be someone they aren't? What do you think that comes from?
Um, I don't think it I don't know that it comes from I don't know if that it's a product of social media. I think the difference is there's great things about the internet. The internet gives you access to information, at your fingertips. You can talk to anybody in the world. Um, much like we're doing now. You're halfway across the country, I guess. And before, when you couldn't do that and you were that type of person that was always negative and things like that, you could only talk to the people that were around you. And if the people around you didn't like that, they just stopped talking to you. You were shunned in real life. You couldn't There was no platform for you. So as I've said before, the internet has just allowed dumb people to talk to other dumb people about dumb stuff. So before, if you didn't live around anybody that shared that same opinion, then that opinion kind of just died off. But now you can go find a forum somewhere where everybody's talking about that one thing or whatever, and you get caught in these echo chambers where everybody's just saying the same thing and whatnot. So I think that, just the point to kind of drive that home is just like, I don't think that you know anybody, probably. I mean, maybe you know one or two, but I don't think you know too many people that actually do that in real life. Why? Because you don't hang out with those people.
Right.
So they can't say that to you in real life because you don't hang around those people. But now that picture aside, is just that now you can say whatever you want to anybody you want to if you share a space, and that space may be Twitter or Facebook or whatever. So, I don't.
Okay.
So my point is, I don't think that it's. I think it's just amplified by social media. But there are people out there that do this anyway in real life. People just don't talk to them.
Yeah, yeah, okay, and that makes sense to me. And I'm patting myself on the back for those of y'all that can't see if you're listening to the replay, because I do a good job of not blocking people. I know that little button is easy to do when people say stuff to you or whatnot, and I don't do that. I think there's probably only been a few people that have blocked, and that means they've probably done something to me or the family or something that I just didn't want to hear from anymore, in one way or the other. But typically, when people say outlandish stuff or they're just trolling around and they're trying to pick a nerve, it's easy for me not to reply, and just say, "Look at this idiot," and keep on trucking past them. So anyway,
Oh, I gotta fix that scoreboard. There we go.
blocking your. hmm hey, Craig, I just want to say appreciate you for being in. You're a Teagster. You're always in. You're a faithful listener, viewer, and we thank you so much for it. And if we do get the chance to be able to see you when you're out here at Dallas, um, that'll be cool as well. So, all right. So let's talk first a little. I want to go into Nick Saban first.
All right.
and him. So the comment I were is that he's duped the NCAA again because it seems like all these rules that are being put in place, transfer portals, NILs, and whatever else coming. It seems like that we're trying to level the playing field in some way so that isn't one big dynasty all the time. And it seems like Nick Saban always figures out a way to to take advantage of it or circumvent the rule or whatever. I don't know what the best word is. You can help
I
me
think
with that.
they think the best word is probably exploit.
Yes, yes. So the NILs. I guess I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. I guess we can go into the transfer portal a little bit now. Now we got as loaded as we are. We're still getting transfers coming in. We got a couple more high-profile guys who are coming in. And so, is this just the wit of Nick Saban and him truly understanding and trying to, what'd you say, exploit
Yep.
the rule, or why can't other people just kind of figure that out and do what he's doing as well?
I don't know. It's always funny because you see Nick Saban kind of warning you before the thing happens, and he kind of really asks you, like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" Because the consequences are not going to be what you think they are. And then you pull in a guy from LSU and one of the best running backs in the country from Georgia Tech, and then everybody's like, "Wait, this isn't the way we thought this was going to go," and I don't know. It seems like all of these things. I mean, even some of the things that he said about bowls in the playoffs, and it's like, Saban seems to have been right on the money with all of his takes before changes occur, and I don't know. Maybe when he decides he's done coaching, he can be the SEC commissioner or the NCAA president or whatever.
I definitely don't think he'll go into the NCAA. I was going to say about being a commissioner for a league, NCAA or something. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the NCAA. I don't know the name of the person who's running the organization, but it just seems like there has to be. So they're going to have to go back to the table a little bit and really try to look at these most recent changes with the portal, the NILs, and really say, okay, is this going to be best for the game or the sport or not? Does it affect? I guess I'd be curious to know, JT, if these rules affect football more than they do other sports.
That's a good question. I don't know, because we just don't like that stuff doesn't cross my radar, right? When kids go in the transfer portal, I only hear about it for football, and I know it happens in other sports. It happens in basketball. It just potentially not. It doesn't happen in basketball as often because. Well, I take that back. It does happen in basketball. Size is lower. It does happen in basketball all the time. It just happens with guys who are less likely to go to the NBA because the guys who can go to the NBA can leave after 1 year anyway. So they just leave and they go to the pros. Whereas you got a 3-year starter that's like, oh, I'm a 4th round pick, but I really want to be a 1st round pick. And everybody's knocking me because I'm the running back at Georgia Tech and our team's not very good. So nobody's talking about me. So if I go over here and get on the national spotlight, those kind of things, and you have to be there for more seasons.
Yeah, but it seems like, and maybe you're right, okay, but I'm wondering how it affects like someone like baseball, and you got this pitcher, that I don't know, maybe he's too far down on the list, or he wants to be able to pitch. He wants to be the starting pitcher and not the cleanup or whatever. And so I'm kind of curious about that. And I don't know if there's real data out there to see if it really happens. I've been starting to hear a little bit about quarterbacks and the success rate that they're moving in football. Like, is it really successful or not? You hear about the success stories, you just don't hear about the flops.
Yeah,
You know?
I saw somewhere. I don't know if the numbers are true, but I saw that Mike Leach had said something like 3,000 kids go into the transfer portal every year, and most of them actually don't end up finding a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if 3,000 is right. Maybe that's like across all levels. And it's also Mike Leach. So that number could have literally been pulled out of the air. But if there is any truth to that, one, that doesn't really surprise me. You really only hear about the big name guys that are going places. So I want to call back John Davis's comment here. He says, Saban knows how to best use the rules to his advantage because he's very smart, is the best recruiter in history, and has the #1 program. NIL and transfers tie back to how good you can recruit kids.
John, I think that's a pretty good assessment to it. Obviously, he's very smart and he knows how to recruit. And you keep seeing these videos that pop up and, what he's saying to people's families and things of that nature. But he just got another weapon at his hand now. I don't know all of the rules about NIL and how this is working and how much the university actually has an impact on finding sponsors for kids and different things. But man, it's just, I don't know. You're going to make me go back down another rabbit hole again with that. So Eli Ricks, transferring in Alabama, defensive back from LSU. Do we know what happened to him? What his injury is? Is he going to be an immediate impact, or is this something that we got to be worried about now if he's got a
he's been riddled with injury. Will he have an immediate impact? I think so. I mean, he's not going to be able to play until next season anyway. So he's got now until August to get right, which I think he'll be fine. And given Alabama's medical staff and strength program, I think he'll be okay.
Do we end up losing somebody because of this? When a transfer comes in and somebody worried about their spot, I know we got some people graduating or leaving, but we could be pretty stout back there. And
I'm not particularly worried. We already lost 2 guys midseason anyway. So I think you're kind of down on numbers. I think you're going to end up losing somebody anyway because, they still got more guys coming in this particular class. But I'm not particularly worried because John Davis says Rick's injury was a shoulder injury, torn labrum. Yeah, so I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
So the #1 corner that you were after really wanted to go to USC and then was leaning towards Alabama because Clay Helton wasn't there and they didn't know who the coach was going to be. So really he was looking for any reason to actually keep him committed to USC. And then once they finally got Lincoln Riley and they kept the cornerbacks coach that he really liked, he ends up going to USC. So then you lose one more corner that you maybe were banking on getting. So I think it'll be okay. I don't know that you lose anybody that you were worried about that you haven't lost already.
Man, yeah, I'm sorry. I digress every time. I'm just saying, this whole free agency thing, I look at this like free agency. Is it good for college football that you just coaches leave, players can leave? I always get into it. It's an internal conflict. I got it. Players' choice, players' rights, and all that. It just seems like, man, there's just so much more movement. Maybe I got to get used to it. I don't know why Bo Nix left. Just all kind of stuff. And it's like, man, I don't understand unless it's money moves now or something else.
Well,
like
I
digress.
I would venture to say that Bo Nix's transfer didn't have anything to do with money.
Maybe he got a few extra pairs of Nikes since he's going up to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Maybe they did that. I don't know.
You would think that your father being a standout quarterback there, and they already love you, and you've been the starter there for 3 years, that your NIL checks would be all right.
So do you think, why did Bo?
I don't know.
Leave? What's our speculation? I mean, was he told in the meeting room that what's the backup quarterback that came in when he was hurt? Not Huntley. What's his name?
Finley. TJ Finley.
Finley. Yeah. Was he feeling some pressure from this guy, this young guy, that he feel like he's gonna lose his job, or I haven't read anything. I hadn't heard anything on why he would want to go to Oregon just out of the blue like that, unless he was threatened with not being the starter next year. And I can't believe that, because he's good. He can play. So
I
anyway.
honestly couldn't tell you. All I know is that he graduated, so he's a grad transfer. That's slightly different than being in the transfer portal, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
So
good luck to him.
I have no idea. Maybe, I don't know. It still doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure there's something. I have no idea what it is.
Okay. All right. So Jahmyr Gibbs coming there from Georgia Tech. He was a 4-star athlete, 4-star running back.
Yep.
How'd Georgia Tech end up getting him anyway?
Well, he was there. This is his first? Is this his second year, or is this his third year? I think he has 2 years of eligibility left, but that doesn't really tell me much anymore, because you have that free year with 2020. I don't know. Where's he from? I don't know. Let's do some sleuthing.
Yeah, just anytime when they come from certain places, I just kind of wonder, if he was not taking these shots at Georgia Tech or anything of that nature. But if you end up, you're going there, and then
he's from Dalton, Georgia.
Yeah, but he wasn't good enough to go to Georgia, I want to assume. Maybe I shouldn't say it that way, because it sounds like I'm talking bad about him. But I'm not. I'm just, if you're from there and you take Georgia over, or Georgia Tech over Georgia,
yeah,
and all the other SEC schools around you, if he's a 4-star. But again,
his 24/7 sports page lists all the offers that they have listed on here. Georgia is notably absent from this list. He did have a lot of offers from a lot of places. And
in the SEC schools?
Yes. Florida, Alabama, LSU, Mississippi State, Missouri, Ole Miss, South Carolina, A&M. Yeah. And it says his lead recruiter at Georgia Tech was Tashard Choice, if you remember him, running back for the Cowboys and among other teams. So I don't know. Maybe
that could have been it. The ex-pro. Tell him to come on.
Yeah, and they probably wanted to stay home a little bit, and probably wanted to go to Georgia, but Georgia never offered him because they got I guess because they got Dalvin Cook's little brother and Zamir White and all these other backs. But
Well,
he only according to this, he only took a visit to Georgia Tech and Florida. There's only 2 places he went.
oh wow. See, I don't know. I hadn't watched him play. I know our running back room should be pretty stacked.
Well,
Again,
I think he's third in. I think he leads. I think he is third overall in rushing yards this year.
oh yeah, he's getting it now. He's getting it. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out after spring football as well. What our depth chart actually looks like, you know. Then, so I don't know, man. I think we should be in a good spot. I guess we've started practicing and getting ready for the bowl game, and the guys are, hopefully are going to be fresh and healthy for the game as well. I still feel pretty good about it. I hadn't heard, one thing or another about anything about the game. All I know is we're going to be in the house, JT. We're going to go in and have a good time. And, all of us will have the chance, all of us as in our nuclear family will have the opportunity to be at the game. So have you thought about it anymore? Is there anything that worries you about Cincinnati that, they might come and –
I mean, so I was talking to T, your sister, about this the day that you left. And, I was just saying, Cincinnati is a good football team. And what I think what people forget is that Cincinnati is not your just run-of-the-mill G5 team. They are G5 because they were just like left out. I want to say it was 2003, but it might have been. I think it was the 2003 season, but it might have been the 2007 season. Whichever year that Texas and Nebraska played each other in the Big 12 championship. Like, if Texas doesn't lose that game, Cincinnati would actually be ranked number 2 in the BCS, and they would have played for a national championship. And they didn't, because somebody else won and jumped them, and they would have. And they were at home waiting, and because this was at the time they were in the Big East, which was also the time that Miami and the rest of them were in the Big East. This was before the Big East basketball schools decided that they were going to go make their own conference and take the name and force everybody else to figure it out. John Davis says it was 2009, maybe. I actually want to look this up because I want to be accurate. I want to see what the 2009 BCS standings were.
What does John Davis do?
I don't know.
He's pretty good encyclopedia stuff right here. Yeah. Tell us what you do, man. That's pretty good sports knowledge. Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't know if their momentum and why you're looking that up. If they're gonna have the mindset that underdog mindset. If they're just coming in, guns a blazing, trying everything. Using their athletic talent, but, smart as that coaching staff.
Yeah, the coaching staff seems to be able to have a good game plan to where they're not going to be particularly too caught up in the moment. And I also think that, they've got good corners. They've got a corner they got 2 corners that are going to end up playing in the league. They got one that's significantly better than the other that I think he could probably start just about anywhere. I'm having a much more difficult time finding this than I thought, so I'm about to give up. Oh, well we'll figure it out.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, but my point is that they were a good team. They went to the Orange Bowl, which is probably what I should have looked up was what year they went to the Orange Bowl. And then their conference just kind of fell out from underneath them. And they got the short end of the stick. Nobody invited them to go anywhere, and they had to stay in what became the American. And they inherited the other teams that got left over from this conference migration. And they haven't they never really fell to that level. Cincinnati's always been pretty good. And I think they've always been able to recruit pretty well. And they just needed a coach to kind of put it all together. And they've got one. And they also have a month to prepare, just like Alabama does.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their championship so far.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I think it'll be a better game than we expect. I think the first half will say a lot, will be a lot of jockeying, by the coaching staffs and the players. And it's going to be those halftime adjustments on, okay, we know what they're up to, what they're trying to do. And, so I'll be looking forward to the third quarter to really kind of see how different the game is. That's assuming that it's close,
Mm-hmm.
Special teams.
John was right. It was 2009. And he said he works in IT and also is an ops manager / stock trading.
All right.
They went to the Orange Bowl in 2009, and they went to the Sugar Bowl the year after that.
And they didn't win either one of them. Not that that matters. That was a long time ago.
They did not.
So I don't know. Well, they're here now. They get an opportunity to really show the world what who they are, and if we need to rethink, Group of Five, sometimes, even though they're probably better than any of the Group of Fives, obviously.
Yeah. And if you don't know who Sauce Gardner is, you should go find out who Sauce Gardner is.
All right. So I'm looking forward to that. It is not going to be very much longer before we're sitting up in AT&T Stadium to watch an Alabama game. So that'll be good. But there is another game going to be happening at AT&T Stadium on December the 26th. That's the Cowboys. Or do you want to go into that now, or do you want to talk about this bowl mania stuff since we're on college before?
Yeah, I want to touch on two things here. So I was meaning to actually pull up the bowl standings. See if I can get those on the screen somewhere.
Well, the most important thing is who's number one and who's number two. You can pull that up if you want to, but
well, I mean, let's look. Maybe it's changed. There's some games going on right now.
Yeah, I looked right before we got on the show, and it looked like everybody picked, or most of them must take a big shot on the Kent State Wyoming game. I don't think the confidence pool was too strong.
Oh no,
on that one.
That's not right.
See, this is this back end stuff that I definitely don't know what you're talking about. Y'all can't see it if y'all listening on the.
There we go.
There we go. So he only wants to show the number one spot. Huh?
Hold on, man.
Is that what we're doing here? Is that what we're doing here?
I'm trying. It's hard to do. Okay, maybe we'll do it this way. We'll just go to the browser and
there we go.
How's that?
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, you want to try to explain this again to anybody that's?
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go look at your picks because I don't think I can see all of them. I can just see the ones that you made. Yeah. So, because I don't want to reveal all of my picks, So.
Gotcha.
So what you do is you pick a winner, and then you rank them from number 44 to number 1. If you, in this case, you put 11 points on the UAB BYU game, you were right. Therefore, you get 11 points for that game. And if you miss, then you just lose out on 17. So you picked Jackson State, which I think a lot of people did. Who would have thought? Yeah, there was no reason to pick South Carolina State, but whatever. So you kind of just miss out on those 17 points, and you have to hope that your 16 and 18 hit and whatnot. And at the end of it, you add up all the points, and whoever has the most points wins. So
scroll down there. You can see my 40, 41, 42.
And 43. They all were good picks.
Yeah, hit them all.
So you jumped out to a lead. And that's kind of what makes it fun, is because if we go back and we look at this, I'm leading right now with the most points, but my max points are not as high as yours.
And I actually won one more game than you.
Yes.
As far as the 8-3 record.
Yes. So I don't know who DC Flag Runner is. Well, actually, no, let's go with KJN
DC
Racer.
Flag Runner. He's in one of my fantasy football leagues as well.
His KJN Racer has a max of 976 left, so the potential is there. They've actually picked the same. They've got the same record of picks that I do. That just means I front-loaded my bowls, and theirs seems to be a little back-loaded. So we'll see how it goes.
Could be a problem. That could be a problem because there's some good games down there. You can either hit or miss.
Yeah, that's why I front-loaded mine. I was like, I think I have. I don't want to start betting on, because once you start getting to those later games, that's when the opt-outs really start to matter, right? The Coastal Carolina hadn't won a bowl game ever, so wasn't nobody opting out of that game,
Mm-hmm. That's right. So I feel like I'm sitting pretty good right now. I hate I missed on a couple. I missed on the Wyoming. I talked myself out of the Wyoming game. Wasn't very many points, but I could have used it considering I'm 40 behind you. So
let's see if I can pull this up without revealing all of my picks. Sure, I'm not signed in here, so if I just click on mine, here we go. So I got my 44. I cannot believe I put 43 points on Jackson State. Oh, you can't see that. Our video's in the way. But you can see it. Like most of my big ones are gone already.
Yeah, you got some pretty big ones on that App State. I don't remember what I put on the App State game. I knew when we talked about that in the show last week, you were taking App State, and I was telling you I was taking I got that one pretty good. Just Toledo, Middle Tennessee, good Lord. But there's still some more games left.
And that also means there's still time. So if you're listening to this now and you haven't jumped in the pool, it means you hadn't lost your points. I mean, you can start kind of throwing out your ones, right? So maybe you aren't able to select your ones and twos and threes, but you can still get in here and grab a quick 44 points, I believe. They lock as they roll. We haven't locked anybody out. So, did I use my 44-point game already, JT? Yes, I did. And you can't see it. It is down here under Jackson State. I put 44 points on the Coastal Carolina Northern Illinois game, and I got it right. So I did get my 44 points.
Yeah, that was good. So, hey, let's go ahead and make sure we give a big shout out to Char 380 again for going to give the winner, and that won't be me or JT, by the way, if we are 1-2 or 1 or 2 at the end of the game. But the person that finishes first behind me and JT will win $150 gift certificate to Char 380. It's a grills and outdoor store located in McKinney, Texas. The website, I can't remember the name of it, is Chard.
I think it's
RTX something. Could be Chard, Texas.
Yeah, we're terrible.
Doesn't matter.
We're terrible sponsor reads. It's chardtx.com.
Chardtx.com. You can go in there and check out everything, take a look around, because the $150 can get you a lot of stuff. Could get you some meat, could get you some seasoning, could get you some utensils. No, it's not going to get you the grill or the fire pit and all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of things that you can use it for. It is where I do go shop at. I'm very thankful for them. So I go in there, I get my cherry wood and apple wood and hickory and all that kind of stuff out of there. They do have the great seasons in there. They've partnered up with Meat Church and others as well. So a lot of his seasonings are in there as well. Just a good local place to be able to get your grilling needs. And I don't know if you saw my pictures, JT, but I was on that grill today. We went to Dreamland. We got a bonus gift, by the way, off topic here, but there's a Dreamland right up the street from Dad right now. They took over. I think they moved the place from downtown to up here, closer by East Chase. So I was actually taking your mom to go get some shrimp, and lo and behold, when I pulled into the parking lot, it said Dreamland on it. We quickly pulled right on the end. They got us some Dreamland barbecue. But I also came home and cooked some as well. So check that out at Teague Football.
Craig wants to know where you got your Star Grill at.
Where did I get that Star Grill? So that was a gift from Consuelo to me. I actually had it made. It was made specifically for me. We drew it up, and some people we know down in South Texas, down in the Rio Grande Valley, made the grill for me. So I had to drive. It was about 9 hours to be able to go pick it up and drive it back home, because it does come with a trailer hitch hookup and things of that nature. So it's pretty cool. But we had that made. So there's only one in the country that I know of anyway, like mine. I'm sure it is because it has Cowboys 31 and Roll Tide 13 on it. So it's an antique now. I've had it for some years, but it still cooks very, very well. All right. Great question there. Okay, so we got to talk about the Cowboys, unless someone got something else, JT, about any of that.
Yeah, I just want to throw one more thing about these bowl games, just because I saw this and it was I thought it was interesting. It was a reimagining on like what we should do about these bowl games so that they actually kind of like matter.
Okay.
And the thought was, put them at the beginning of the season. Make them all preseason games. So like while you're doing all these out of conference neutral site games anyway, just make those the bowl games. And the kids can still get all their swag packs and all the other things, but instead of doing it at the end, just do it at the beginning and then play out your season and play the playoffs, and then you have fewer opt-outs, because the bowl games were supposed to be of like bringing economic revenue to the city that they're played in. That's why they have bowl games like in El Paso and whatnot. So
yes,
if you take those teams and you put them at the beginning, like they do with the Chick-fil-A Classic.
I think I kind of like that idea. I see that, because you hit it on the head for me. So these opt-outs, man, it's just another one, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm telling my age or something. It's just, you kind of live for these games, and, you got an opportunity to help your team win a bowl game or a title or move up in the ranks or something. And it just seems like we're getting more and more people who are really worried about the professional career, that, hey, that one more game, although you could get injured or maybe not play as well, lose your draft stock or something. I don't know. I don't know the real reason most people opt out of those, other than injury. That what it could be. Why people don't play. So yes, move the games to the front. Let them do what they got to do. Make a big deal out of it. We know that ain't never going to happen, but I kind of like that concept.
Yeah. No, I didn't come up with that myself. Like I said, I found it in the comment section of The Athletic by some dude named James J. And I was like, oh, that's actually a kind of interesting idea.
Yeah, it is.
Well, anyway, it is. Let's get to the Cowboys here. So on the topic sheet, I put Cowboys win despite offense. And yes, John Davis, more opening week classics. That's exactly what it would be. Instead of, your all these other games, I mean, you could even take Texas A&M and Arkansas, since they're going to play it in the Cotton Bowl anyway, and just like call it the Heart of Texas Bowl or something, and put some branding around it and just call that a bowl game, which is seemingly what they do anyway. So, but anyway, I digress. Going back to the Cowboys, didn't they have like 4 turnovers?
The Cowboys?
The Cowboys forced 4 turnovers, right?
Oh, yes.
So
15 points out of it, I think. 3, 3, 3, 6.
Yeah. So you're making my case. You had 4 turnovers. You had 1 touchdown and 3 field goals. And, you win by 14 14? 15. You win by 15 points, and you had 4 turnovers, 21-6. You had more turnovers than you did touchdowns. I feel like we have to be, not saying that the offense is bad, but I feel like a Super Bowl caliber team has to be better on offense.
We do have to be better than that. There was some uncharacteristic drops that I think CeeDee Lamb had. There were some missed throws by Dak. The running game was better, but to me, I think we lacked the explosive plays. And so that was one of the battles I was having on Twitter, because we were talking about the lack of explosive plays, and someone said it was because of the wind and you couldn't throw the ball. And I'm saying 19 yards being the longest pass play. In any circumstance, completed pass is kind of, I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's telling of our offense. So, you think I overshot that a little bit? Am I worried about explosive plays too much? Someone said I'm a defensive guy, so I should be happy that big plays aren't happening. But with all our weapons, I feel like we should be having some down the field.
Yeah, I think so too.
Plays.
I mean, depending on what your definition of chunk plays are, a lot of coaches put it at 20. So, or explosive plays,
Yes.
the bar would be 20. So, if you're
We had
saying
0.
that, then we would have 0 explosive plays on offense, which, for the amount of money that is on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know. I would say that's kind of unacceptable.
Okay, but dude, so I'm going, just in case he's listening, I'm going into, he's saying it shouldn't happen because of the wind, the speed, that we shouldn't expect Dak to be able to complete a pass in 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Okay, I mean that's fine, but my counter would be, Dak shouldn't also have to throw a ball over 20 yards in order to have a 20-yard gain.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw a 10-yard pass, make somebody miss, and gain another 10 yards after the catch, 50 yards after the catch, or whatever. Or we can break off a 20-yard run. None of that happened. So, I mean, I don't want to say that it's all Dak's fault. I think that's actually the opposite of what I'm saying. It's not all Dak's fault.
True.
I don't know how many air yards he threw. I don't know how many balls over 20 yards he threw that we dropped or whatever. But the onus shouldn't be explosive plays only come from bombs that Dak throws.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. And I think that's a whole nother category, or way to kind of look at it. It just, I don't know.
Also,
I know on defense, yeah.
I mean, if the wind is blowing in one direction, like unless it's a crosswind, you get the wind at your back the other way, right?
I said that, as well. And I think that was kind of the most frustrating piece to me. I was like, there's a lot of outdoor stadiums. I know you play for home field advantage to try to eliminate some of that, but you know what happens when you're in Buffalo or Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Chicago or Green Bay or whatever it is. Somehow these quarterbacks
are still throwing them bombs at.
They find a way to complete the pass, and And can you blame it on, well, we're just from the South and we play in a dome? I just think if you're making $40 million, you got to adjust. You got to adjust to what that is, like the kickers do, right? They got to kick a 40-yard field goal into the wind. They figure out how to kick the ball so it turns or moves, and we should be able to do the same. I'm with you. I'm not blaming Dak on that because there's other ways for explosive plays. But back to your point, when your defense turns the ball over that many times for you, you'd hope to get more touchdowns out of that. And some of those were short field, I believe, where we couldn't even punch it in, and that's not. It's not good. I mean, Amari Cooper was absent for the most part. I think he threw the ball to Gallup a little bit. It seemed like he was trying to feed Amari a lot. That seemed to be pretty good game plan, and Schultz was okay as well. So I'm just waiting for. I think I'm just itching to be able to get that offense back that we were teased by.
Yeah. Well, here's a little bit of my concern as I pull up the Cowboys schedule. So the games that I can remember where they had just offensive, where they just seemed unstoppable on offense. Where the Eagles, kind of the Panthers, the Giants the first time, and the Falcons. And then, I guess the Raiders at the end of the game, but that was too late. So the teams that I named are not very good defenses. They're
So
just
far,
not.
defense. I don't know if there's been. I hadn't really seen any strong, overpowering defenses across the league. Not like before. I'm thinking. I don't know. Minnesota's starting to get back
The Saints'
into their
defense
own.
is still pretty good. They just
Saints
don't have an
defense is
offense.
pretty good.
They actually don't have an offense. Their offense is not just underperforming. They got problems.
Your boy Taysom Hill.
No, not my boy Taysom Hill.
I'm just glad they won because they put the Cowboys at number 2 seed. So I'm very thankful for them. So I don't know what's up with the offense. Hopefully we get back on track this week. We'll be back at home. I just saw the tweet that the Redskins are supposed to be the Washington football team is supposed to be bringing in their seat warmers. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
Wouldn't that would be hilarious. That it'd be something stupid like that to really invigorate this rivalry once again.
Yeah, that's what someone said. In the dome or whatever, but I don't know. It'd be kind of cool for them to bring it. I think it'd be worth a laugh. Anyway, keep them off keep them off the middle of the field. Just go ahead and bring your seat warmers. So that would be fun. One
of the other things I want to ask you about in this game, and I thought about it as I was picking up Tinsley from daycare, was Diggs' interception.
All right.
So objectively, not being the Cowboys fan, not being a defensive guy, just you're on the rules committee and you look at that interception and you get to make up a rule, whether it's a catch or not a catch. Which way would you actually have gone with that?
No catch.
That's where I was too.
Because, and I'll tell you why. The rule stated, I thought you had to complete the entire catch all the way down to the ground until finish. I mean, the ball's not supposed to bobble. It's not like you went over the goal line in that case or something where you broke a plane. So it didn't look like he completed the full act of the interception. That's my honest piece. While I was sitting there watching it, though, I said, "Oh, he's probably going to get that because he had it." Kind of went down. The guy kind of took it from him, but that's where I think it gets to that little fine line of
Yeah.
is that completed all the way or not?
From
That's it.
listening to what I heard from the broadcast, it sounded like it was an interception on a technicality. Because they were
What do you mean?
saying that he became a receiver. And essentially the rule is if you are a receiver, if you catch the ball with 2 feet inbounds in the end zone and you have possession, the play's over. It's just as if you are diving for the end zone. As soon as the ball breaks the plane, play's over. So they were saying because he was in the end zone, he basically established himself as a receiver. As soon as he caught the ball going out of bounds, the play was over. And I was like, yeah, I guess, but I don't like that for receivers either. So, because I'm like, because I'm like, if this happened at the 50, they're overturning that. That's not a catch. And even if he was a receiver and he's at the 50, they're still calling that no catch.
That's right. That's right. And I didn't hear that on the tube. We were sitting around the family and whatnot. There was too much noise going on. But that's interesting that it does have something to do with the end zone and establish yourself as a receiver. But I don't know. He's got 10 interceptions now. That puts him tied with Everson Walls, I believe.
Yes, he's tied. I think he's tied with Everson Walls, which then leads me to the other question: is who is actually the best Cowboys defensive player?
Michael Parsons, man. I know we got a couple that probably could be up for Defensive Player of the Year, at least from a team perspective. No one's really talking about Trayvon Diggs as a Defensive Player of the Year for the league, are they?
Not that I'm aware of.
I just think it's still more of Parsons has to be reckoned with in a lot of different places. I would add Diggs if they found a way to, I don't know, blitz him, move him around a little bit more, put him in situations or in positions where he would be out of his comfort zone. More slot coverage, things of that nature. So I just see them using Parsons in other ways that force him to get out of his comfort zone, which makes him more valuable. And with the numbers that he's putting up, how many sacks does he have?
He might have 11 and a half now.
11.
And don't let me forget, we've got a bank of questions in here that I want to get to the end, but I want to finish our Cowboys conversation first before we get to.
Okay. So I'm going with Parsons. What about you?
I think so too. For the kind of the same reasons. They're just you have to know where 11 is. You can't not know where he is because that's how you get your quarterback smacked. So, you've got to, and maybe this is why Diggs has 10 picks. Because with Parsons, like you have to shift protections. You got to get rid of the ball. There's certain things you have to check out of. And there's probably things that you probably should check out of too when you're trying to throw the ball against Diggs. But teams are like, nah.
Still throwing at him. JT, did you see the play that Parsons made on the pick route down on the goal line? He was lined up on, I don't know who it was. I don't know if you remember it, but he ended up coming off his guy and chasing the guy to the end zone and knocking the ball down. Speedy wide receiver.
I didn't see it, in my EverQuest of how do I really feel about fantasy and NFL football. It wasn't until like 1:30 that I remembered that I was supposed to be watching the Cowboys game. So it was almost halftime by the time I turned on the TV.
Oh yeah. No, it was incredible. He was basically covering
two people.
Well, yeah, so he was essentially in the slot, right? And the receiver came down and tried to pick him. The other guy goes behind him on the rail route. And no, I'm sorry. I said that backwards. The running back was outside. The receiver was inside. The running back came inside, picked the corner. Receiver runs the rail route.
Oh, and he peeled off of him?
He peeled off his guy and chased down the wide receiver.
Yeah, the dude's fast.
And knocked the ball down. It was
I got to go back.
Just
I got to go back and find that one.
Yeah, just the awareness that he had to be able to not be locked in on his man, so and realize, hey, my guy just got, my corner is pinned, and he just turns and hauls butt. It was nice. I mean, that was kind of the stable moment. Like, okay,
well,
out of all the other things you did, now you're chasing wide receivers down the field. Good Lord.
Well, it's a shame that you couldn't hear the broadcast, especially being around the family, because you did get a shout out on the broadcast, which I tweeted about, halfway joking that they didn't mention Darren Woodson as well. But I forget which play it was. It could have been Diggs' interception, whatever. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch. But they were basically making a reference to the 90s secondary. And they were like, this defense kind of reminds you of the way they play. It kind of reminds you of the Cowboys 90s defense, and they had some good coverage and heavy hitters back there, and they specifically mentioned you and Dion, and that's what I tweeted. I was like, wait a minute, Darren Woodson's the one that's in the Hall of Fame here. Like, why? How did he not get mentioned on this list?
Yep, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah. I mean, I'll say it does feel good just to be recognized and be, remember. And I had nothing to do with those Super Bowl teams. I was catching the brunt end of the Cowboys being at the Packers during those years, and I was just fortunate enough to be able to come and still be able to play with those guys. So, as you said, playing with Dion and Kevin Smith and Darren Woodson, I mean, it was just unbelievable. Even Brock Marin. And I'm really hoping that Darren gets in. I know he's in the Ring of Honor. He's in the Ring of Honor, right?
Oh, Darren's not.
He's not in. He didn't have the gold jacket yet.
Oh, whoops.
Well,
I'm speaking into existence now because I thought he was in.
He's one of the finalists for this time. So I'm hoping that he can make it. But, there's another guy in there too, Leroy Butler, that I played with in the Packers. I'm hoping that he gets in. He's pretty good. Sooner or later, those guys are going to get in. But, shoot, I guess we're still waiting for Everson Walls to get in. I didn't even realize that, with the accolades that he has, he needs to be in there too, probably. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to this game. We will be there. Consuelo and I are going to go with the Bolins on Sunday after we get back, after Christmas, after we celebrate, and we'll go root our Bulls on to a victory. Okay, so tell me about the questions that we got on there, because I know
we got two that we'll go with for short on time. The first one is, how is your take on canceling games for COVID?
Canceling them? My take, sure, I would be okay with it. The NFL ain't going to be, just because of the loss of revenue that would happen there. I will say that I don't like I don't agree with the lightening up on the tests just so they can play the games. I think you're putting guys at risk a little bit, not getting into a COVID testing discussion, vaccination discussion, and all that kind of stuff. That's not it. I just think that, if it continues to be like this, there's a lot of other sports that are canceling games or at least moving them. I know you can't postpone the games right now in the NFL. I don't think that could work at all. So if you have to shut down everybody for a whole week, everybody, I say make it league-wide. Hey, we're not playing any games. That's what I feel.
All right. And then the other one is wondering if you had any good Brett Favre stories from your time at Green Bay.
Was this the one that I was supposed to answer last week?
Yes, this is the one that you're supposed to answer last week. So I'm glad John Davis reminded me because I definitely did forget. So
Yeah, and I have forgot to. Okay, well, this is um, when I really kind of knew how hard. There's a lot of. I do have multiple Brett Favre stories, but I want to go with this one first because oftentimes we don't really know how hard a quarterback actually throws the ball. And I know we always talk about quarterbacks being gunslingers and what that actually means, but I don't know. Have I ever told you the story, JT? So one day in practice, we're inside. It's cold outside, and uh, I wore the face mask, the cage with the 3 bars, and the little bitty eyes right here
mhm.
around it because I didn't want people to put fingers in my. They had to work to try to get fingers in or ball or something of that nature. So we're doing man-to-man drills, and I think I'm covering Robert Brooks or somebody. Doesn't really matter. Runs a comeback route. Brett Favre is quarterback. I'm covering the wide receiver. He runs a comeback. I plant, turn to come back for the comeback, and look for the ball. And I just told you how hard how thin my deal was. The ball actually penetrated into my face mask, hit my eyeball. Of course, it didn't stick in there like Friday Night Lights or something or whatever. It popped back out, and I'm screaming like a little baby or whatever because I'm trying to figure out how this ball got into my face. The trainers are running over, my eyes red and all this kind of stuff, and everybody just kind of looking like, what's wrong? I was like, man, I said that ball hit me in the eye, and they're kind of looking at me like that couldn't happen. I was like, no, it happened. Look at this, and so I got into that to say that he does throw the ball. He was throwing the ball extremely hard. If you go back and look at the film of the wide receivers, and you really want to know how hard he threw the ball, they had like these padded gloves on, almost like lineman gloves. They're called scuba gloves, but they were kind of thick and rubbery. They kind of try to take the zing off of his ball. So it was hard for it to intercept those without catching it in the chest as a defensive back. But, love Brett Favre to death. He was funny. He's a down to earth dude. Just he was the locker room guy. He was funny. He wasn't like, I shouldn't say it. He was very different from Troy Aikman or Dan Marino or any of the other quarterbacks I played. He's a guy that he's going to go have a beer with you. He's just going to hang out. He's going to have fun. He's going to go shoot darts. He didn't care about his stature, his status, or any of that. He just wanted to play football. So I got the big I from Brett Favre.
Well, I've heard that he could throw the ball very hard. I've heard that he's broken a few fingers, but that'd be my first time hearing somebody getting hit in the face with their helmet on.
Through the face mask. Yes. Well, that happened to old George Teague, that's for sure. But that's all right.
Well,
we had a beer.
They say
afterwards.
if you would have put your hands up and don't let the ball hit you in the face.
No, it was timing, man. I just see you missed the beginning of the story. I told you it was a timing route. It was a comeback. As soon as I looked, the ball was there. He'd already let go of the ball before the cut. Obviously, I had the guy D'd up.
Hey, I'm just saying, if you were a receiver and you got hit in the face like that, they'd be like, well, "Why don't you put your hands up?"
Hey, I'm taking my PBU. I don't care what you call it. I broke the pass up. It went down on the chart. We all good.
Well, then we'll wrap it up. Some new developments. Just some new links out there for you guys that have been following us. If you want to catch any of the live shows, I've put together a new link. It is live.teagstake.com. Again, live.teagstake.com. This link will be your access to all the video content. If we are live at the time that you go to that link, you'll just be dropped right into the show. Like right now, if you hit it right now, you'd see us talking on the show. If there's a scheduled event, then it'll take you to the page and let you know. It'll drop you into the scheduled event before it's time, and it'll tell you how long before we go live. And if there is no scheduled event, it will just take you directly to our YouTube channel where you can watch our back catalog of things. And for those that are listening to the recorded version or right now, teagstake.com/bowls. teagstake.com/bowls if you want to get into the Commodus pool if you haven't already. That is your invite link to get in there and try to win this $150.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you again to Charter 380 for being a sponsor of the bowl games. Y'all jump on in, man. It's going to be fun. It'll be good. We will definitely be in touch. We will be we'll be back on next week as well, even though it's the 27th. Wait, 28th.
Who knows what day it is?
We'll still be here. So
yeah, we'll do a we'll probably do a proper pregame for the 28th. And special shout out to Red Elephant, Craig Young, and John Davis for joining us in the chat today. We enjoyed it.
Always do. Always do. Hope to see you guys next week. We'll see you here. Same place, same time next week. Deuces.